Statement. Honorable Anil Nandlall, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I rise, sir, to make some brief remarks on the bill that is before the House. Sir, the first measure of the bill is that it seeks to remove or exempt from payment of licensing fees on driver's license from persons who are 65 years and over. We on this side, sir, we will never oppose any measure that bring reprieve in any form to any grouping of Guyanese people, so that we welcome this exemption. But at the same time, we say, sir, that the pool of people who will benefit from this exemption is simply too narrow. In our approach, sir, when we give exemptions and when we give ameliorating measures to people, we ensure that it captures the largest possible of grouping of Guyanese. And that is why, sir, in our old age pension scheme, we removed the means test, for example, and we made it applicable to every single Guyanese over the age of 65. When we implemented a subsidy for GPL and GWI, we ensured that it applied to every single old age pensioner right across the length and breadth of this country. We were told right in this house, sir, that the Amerindians didn't benefit from our GPL subsidy and our GWI subsidy. We were told that many people on the coastal plain didn't benefit from those subsidies because they did not have a GPL meter in their names, or they didn't have a GWI meter in their names. That may be so, sir, but at the end of the day, tens of thousands of persons, all people, all age pensioners, had those meters in their names and they benefited. Tens of thousands. But this measure which targets drivers who are 65 years and older, targets a very narrow compass of persons. Take, for example, the Amerindians. Could the Honorable Minister of Finance tell us how many Amerindians who are 65 years of age in Oriala will benefit? Could he say how many Amerindians 65 years and older from Aishalton will benefit? Could he say how many in Waini will benefit? Could he say how many in Kaikan will benefit? How many at Keto will benefit? So, sir, the point I am making is that we cannot be so myopic in our focus. This, sir, is intended to benefit a few numbers of urban pensioners, and we reject that approach when we extend alleviating and ameliorating measures to our people. We are saying, sir, that these measures must extend right across the board and not be narrowed to a couple of people in Georgetown and perhaps outside of Georgetown who will benefit. The Honorable Member Amna Ali is from the Edward Village. Could she stand up and say how many persons in the Edward Village will benefit from this? Not more than 10. Not more than 10. And the Honorable Prime Minister from WIM, if they have 5 persons at age 65, driving a car with WIM is a lot. Is a lot. So we are saying, sir, that while we represent the few, and we are happy on behalf of the few who will benefit from this measure, we reject the approach and the principle of targeting certain special interest groups in our society, because this is what this bill does. This is what the bill does. And, sir, the other thing is, while we seem, sir, to target these few persons for benefit, when you counterbalance that with the remainder of the bill, you see that the other sections of the population have to pay through their nose to pay through their noses or nose to finance the exemption. Because every category of license for every category of vehicles have been increased in the other parts of the bill. So you benefit 10 persons and you essentially disadvantage 10,000. What kind of measure is that? What kind of measure is that? And that brings me to the other parts of the bill. Sir, section, that's the entire, that side. Section A of the first schedule of the bill speaks to license fees in respect of vehicles, and it speaks to motorcycles and every other type of vehicle traveling on the roads of this country. Every single category of vehicles are targeted in this measure. And what the measure does, sir, is that it increases all the licenses fees for every single category of vehicles by 50%. It increased the fees, the licensing fees, by 50%. And we are saying, sir, that that is exorbitant. The minister himself conceded that this is not a revenue-raising measure, that it is a regulatory measure. Well, then if it is a regulatory measure, then revenue collection should not be a priority. And therefore, a 50% increase is not required. It's not required. It's not required. If it is regulatory, and not intended to raise finance, then why raise it by 50%? I heard the argument also come from the other side that these fees were not, I think the Minister of Finance himself said that we were tardy in not raising the fees. It was not tardiness, sir, it was deliberate. We did not want to burden the people of this country with additional fees. So, Mr. Minister, it was not tardiness, it was prudence, it was compassion, it was our consideration for the people of this country. Sir, I am being disturbed by Mr. Greenwich, sir. Can I seek your protection, sir? The honorable member. Sir, thank you very much, sir. So, sir, we are saying that in the first category, all the category of vehicles that are targeted for a 50% increase, we are saying, sir, that it will harm no one. It will not harm the treasury if it is reduced. Those proposed fees are reduced by 50%. It cannot harm the economy, but it will help thousands of Guyanese. Thousands of Guyanese will benefit from this measure. The horse cart man, the man who brought, I see there's a category of vehicle here. That, yes, horse, that is a category that broadcast. This got to be, sir, the gentleman who drives at a pier on the quarantine coast and announces that announcement. Yes. That's the only category I could have put this category of vehicle in. So even the death announcement man, his fees to use his vehicle to announce the death of the people on the quarantine coast, and I hope I'm able to move the Honorable Prime Minister, he has to pay an increase in fees, sir, by 50%. So when you go and hire him to announce the death of your relatives, you will have to pay an increased announcement fee. Because as the bishop, who is an economist, rightly pointed out, the burden has to be passed on. The burden has to be passed on to someone. And it passes on, sir, it passes on to the eventual taxpayer. It passes on to the ordinary citizen. Sir,
It's like lawyers.
minibus are among the vehicles that are targeted.
Show it, Anil.
Children go to school every day. Taxis are targeted. Hire car drivers are targeted. Sir, what this means is that traveling expenses will increase from school children right across. So while we have a program of bees, boats, buses, bicycles, and I'm told Brian is added to it. While we have all these bees and these measures that on the one hand we are told are there and designed to alleviate the traveling ordeal of our people, we have a measure that is being imposed right across the spectrum of motor vehicles that will have the ultimate impact of increasing minibus fares and cost of traveling in this country. And we say, sir, that is counterproductive. And then, sir, we move to the other fees. The other fees. Because there are other fees, apart from all the fees that you have to pay for the road licenses, there are another set of fees for registration and for certificate of fitness, for dealers, general license, etc. Those category of fees have been increased, sir, by 100%. Why we need such extravagant and exorbitant increases in fees when we are told by the Honorable Minister of Finance that they are merely regulatory and not intended to raise revenue? And we are saying, sir, that the economy, the treasury, cannot be adversely affected in any measurable way, by any observable way, if it is that these fees are cut by 50%. So you're proposing 100, I see the dealers' license fees have moved from $200,000 to $400,000. And those are the type of increases. You see, the honorable member who is responsible for foreign affairs spends a lot of time flying around the world and has never been connected to the ordinary Guyanese people. Now he's in a far different position, or worse position. And therefore, sir, he cannot relate to the ordeal and the plight that the ordinary Guyanese endures. And then, when this, sir, is added to that burden, it will become heavier. Even the horse cart man will have a heavier burden, because that is how the horse cart is described, a beast of burden. Even the beast of burden will carry a heavier burden when these measures are going to be imposed. So, sir, we heard, sir, 2 days ago, from Durban Park, as the golden arrowhead was raised, that we should work together and that the opposition and the government should meet each other halfway. Well, here it is, sir. I am literally proposing a 50%, a halfway measure. I am literally proposing to meet the government halfway. It is for them, sir, to demonstrate that they mean what they say. I thank you very much, sir.
Halfway. Halfway.